Again, good evening, everyone. This is September 14th, 2022 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. The first item on tonight's agenda is 7 p.m. public hearing. Maureen Patterson requests a determination of applicability to construct a single-family home at 13 Prentice Avenue in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's a vote. All right. I know Ms. Patterson is in the audience. We had an opportunity, Tom Fallon, Megan Langley, and I had an opportunity to go to the property this past Saturday. We walked the property. There are no wetlands on the property. There are no wetlands in the vicinity of the property. What confers jurisdiction on this commission would be wetlands or a stream or some sort of water source within 100 feet of proposed activity. We saw none of that in walking the property at 13 Prentice Avenue. And so based on my observation, I don't believe we have jurisdiction. And that's my conclusion based on my visual observation. Now, if anyone in the audience has some contrary information, you are free to present it. All right, if there is none, is there any comment from the public? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, come up here, or what do you want her to stand?
Why don't you come sit?
State your name and your address, please.
My name is Nancy Erickson, and I live at 8 Prentice Ave.
Okay.
So on Monday, August 22nd, I happened to be home that day, and they were clearing land in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they had the proper permits. I don't know what's been going on there, but they had a bobcat that came out, went through the whole back, cleared the back in the back of the land, then went all the way up Prentice Street. The guy looked at me, took off. Then he came back 15 minutes later, and I stood at the end of my driveway watching him going, why is he doing that? They should have a permit, which I don't know whether they did or they didn't. But I have concerns that they were already clearing land with trees and stuff with that bobcat. You can't get through there. I can now see clear paths through there. You could never, ever see anything through there.
So ma'am, let me be clear. We have limited jurisdiction based on the Wetlands Protection Act,
Yeah.
the Rivers Act, and also the town's bylaw and regulations.
Yeah.
Based on our observations last Saturday, none of those apply to that property. So to the extent that you may have concerns or issues regarding other activity, the complaint is not with us. I mean, you want to talk to the building commissioner, you want to talk to Mr. Moody. Again, ma'am, and just so we're very clear on this, okay?
Mhm.
We are not political at all. We take the
Yeah.
regulations and the laws and we apply them to everyone. I don't care what your inclination is.
I understand.
if
I
we
just wanted to go on record.
Thought there were wetlands there, we would make that determination. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. I just wanted to put it on record.
All right, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, is there any other public comment? There being none, is there a motion to close?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. All right, thank you, Ms. Patterson. We will probably vote on this a little bit later on tonight. All right, thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda is a 7:10 public hearing. Logan Huffman, a notice of intent for that portion of Washington Street Route 20 consisting of grading, paving, striping, and utility work within 100 foot of a buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. Is there a motion to open?
So
Is
moved.
there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote.
Aye.
Yes, please.
Good evening. For the record, Travis Brown, Turning Point Engineering. Since our first meeting and subsequent site walk, there's no new information at this time. DEP is still yet to issue a file number on this, so we're currently waiting.
Why is that?
We followed up with them after our first meeting, resent the materials,
Okay.
and we're still waiting on any correspondence with them and a file number. Yep,
So for that, well, in that case, we can't close the public hearing. tonight.
correct, yeah. Just
All right.
updating you.
Okay, so I assume we have your assent to continue this to September 28th?
Yes.
Okay. Keith, what time would that be?
It'll be 7:00 PM.
Is there a motion to continue the public hearing for Logan Huffman to September 28th at 7 o'clock?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. This is the plan for that. This is the latest set of plans.
It's a vote.
Right. Okay, cool. I've been digging.
Stay here. The next item on our agenda is 7:15 public hearing, Mira Company, a notice of intent for property at 3 Commerce Drive, lot number 2. Is there a motion open? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
It's a vote. Hello again.
Again, for the record, Travis Brown, Turning Point Engineering. This is for a proposed site development on Lot 2 in the Auburn Commerce Park. Since our first meeting, we met on site. A few of the members were able to walk it
Yes.
to the extent that we could. We have since received comments, peer review engineer comments from Graves. Those have now been addressed. We met with the planning board last night. They have approved the project. We believe everything, all issues and concerns have been addressed at this time, so.
I mean, again, when we went out to the site, it was a very straightforward project. I have no comment or any further comment on this. Any comments, Tom? Michelle, any comment? Megan, any comment?
No.
Okay. That being said, is there a motion to close?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's a vote. All right, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're just about caught up. The next item on tonight's agenda is a 7:20 public hearing. Ryan McMahon, a notice of intent for property at 15 Bridle Path. Is there a motion for the construction of an in-ground swimming pool? Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. Good evening. Can you identify yourself, please?
I'm Brian McMahon, 15 Bridle Path in Auburn.
Okay. So I reviewed the materials that you provided to us. Can you just give a summary of the project?
Sure, it's an in-ground pool. It's located in the backyard of 15 Bridle Path. There was a wetland resource evaluation done to determine the approximate source of the wetland. That has been done and submitted on file with the committee. In addition to that, a plan has been submitted as well relative to where the pool itself will go. The pool is not within the 25-foot no-build zone, but it is within the 100-foot border area. And a construction document was also submitted that details the methodology in which the pool will be constructed and how it will be separated from any
You come pretty close. You're within, what, 33 feet?
The closest location is 33 feet, correct?
We, as you probably know, we like to take a look. So my suggestion is that we schedule a sidewalk that won't take very long. You don't need to be there if you don't have to be there, if you don't want to be there. And that would require continuing the public hearing to our next meeting.
A site walk was already done by you, actually,
I was just
previously.
gonna say, didn't we?
You saw it before. In fact, we were in front of the committee in August. At that time,
So we reconfigured it. All right, now I get, okay, you're right. My apologies.
in addition to that, we also got a wetland resource evaluation done, which was submitted, which was not previously provided.
Okay, and yes.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, having seen that, we don't have to go back out there. Megan, any questions?
Sorry, I feel like I just got thrown for a little bit.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said, sorry, I'm I'm just rereading it. I feel like I got thrown for a little bit of a loop.
Okay, so Mr. McMahon is correct. This was actually the subject of a prior filing, which we rejected. And so the project or the in-ground pool has been reconfigured based on the Ecotech report and the other submittals. It does meet our requirements for approval. But I wanted to know if you had any questions, Megan.
So the previous one was rejected and this is the resubmittal.
That's correct. The problem with the previous submittal was that it was within 25 feet of the bordering vegetated well under the well resource area, and the project was reconfigured to bring it outside of the 25-foot no build zone.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Welcome. Any questions, Tom? No. I have no
When do you think
questions.
you're gonna start? Actually, I do have a question. I do have questions.
Please.
When, you're gonna start, obviously, as soon as possible? Okay, all right.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I think I'm done now.
Any comment from the public? There being none, is there a motion to close?
Make motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
I will second
Is there
that.
any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Bye.
All right, so vote. Thank you, Mr. McMahon.
Thank you.
The next item on tonight's agenda is the 725 public hearing, Sparhawk Realty LLC, a notice of intent for property at 404 Oxford Street North. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Bye.
It's a vote. Good evening.
Good evening, Brian Waterman from WDA Design Group, here on behalf of Sparhawk Realty. What would you like to please?
That's a good question.
Good evening, Brian Waterman from WDA Design Group. We're here on behalf of Sparhawk Realty for the project at 404 North Oxford Street. Excuse me, this property is outlined in yellow. It's approximately 2.1 acres. It's located directly west of the Horgan Skating Arena. Would you like me to turn this so you can see it?
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
just a little. That'd be great. Thanks.
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
So this project was actually permitted through ZBA, Planning Board, and Concom in 2016 and 17. And the only portion of the work that was commenced, it was permitted under a different owner. The new owner did demo the house, the dilapidated house and garage, and then the permits expired. So we refiled the same project to re-permit it so it can be completed. The only change really that has occurred in that time is they would now be under a major earthwork permit, which they know they would have to file that for the earthwork started. We refreshed the wetland flags that were done in 2016. So we have, there's an intermittent stream that runs from the westerly side of the property towards Brynmore Avenue. The property has frontage on Brynmore and North Oxford Street. But the project itself is located towards the front of the property with the access drive off of North Oxford Street. So there's the bordering vegetated wetland along the westerly edge, and then there's an isolated wetland adjacent to the property off of Old Oxford Street. So we refreshed the flags in the spring, rewalked those, we tied one new flag, 5A at the isolated wetland there, change of about 4 feet. Other than that, all the flags were good. We updated this existing conditions plan with our survey information indicating the house and the garage gone, and updated the contour elevation there. They did a nice job removing it. It's fully stabilized. That's the existing conditions. Again, the proposed project is the same one that was permitted in 2016 and 17. We did have an informal meeting a few weeks ago with the department heads. One of the comments the fire department wanted is a dedicated painted fire lane along the left side of the driveway, so we've added that. They wanted a note on the plan about the sprinkling of the 4-unit building, so that's been added. It is under peer review currently by Graves Engineering for the town. The only comments we've received so far is from fire, and I think the water department has something about a corporation stopping one of the water supply lines. But, we did get a DEP file number today, 98854. That was from Ian McDonald, the circuit writer. She had a couple questions on drainage, which our engineers answered as far as the infiltration. And she did have a comment on snow storage that was adjacent to the resource area. So I spoke to her and said the closest snow storage is approximately 35 feet away from the resource area. So it's a limited area of pavement. We do have dedicated snow storage. I spoke to Mr. Squirehawk. If you do have a larger storm, he said they utilize Gary Pike, a local contractor, and anything that can't be stored on site easily is trucked off. That may be a comment that comes up in Graves, and we'll respond to that as well. But we did mention that to me, so but we have not heard back. So this is the layout materials plan, so it shows the proposed driveway coming in off of North Oxford Street, servicing the 4 units on the right-hand side. Each have a single garage under and a single space in the drive up front. These are 2-bedroom units, and then the 2-unit at the end has also a dedicated parking in front and an under garage, and those are single-bedroom units. So we have the snow storage areas on the right-hand side, and then the one dedicated off the left. And then, as I mentioned, we added the fire lane for the fire department. The drainage plan, shows the large underground infiltration system. So this takes the roof and the pavement. There's a grit and oil separator. I think that was one of these. She kind of missed that, but there's a grit and oil separator. There's a French drain, and then we have the basin off to the side. So everything's being captured and infiltrated. The soils out here were excellent, sand and gravels, groundwater, and this test was down about 8 feet. So again, like I said, everything is permitted the same way it was before. Obviously, they do have to do an updated earthworks permit with the town when they get to construction. Everything here, the heavy red line is a 25-foot setback, so there's no work within the 25. The erosion control barrier is set at 26 feet in that area, then farther away here. So the closest work is the French drain in the basin at about 30 feet. So again, it's the same project that was permitted. Unfortunately, they didn't ask for extensions, so the permit lapsed. So we're refiling. We have planning board in another week or two, and then ZBA in October.
Okay. When do you expect to get the peer review back from Graves?
That's a good question. I was gonna reach out to Jeff Walsh and ask him, I think they've had it for at least a week or more. And again, I don't know if he's looking at what was peer reviewed. It was peer reviewed originally by Quinn Engineering for the town. And again, we resubmitted all the stormwater calcs, the soils and everything else, so hopefully it's fairly straightforward. I don't have an answer to that, and so when we'll have Graves, but hopefully within a week or so.
So I remember the project, and we walked the site this past Saturday. And you're right, they did an excellent job of removing the house and the garage, because we couldn't even find where it was.
I know, they did really good.
You know,
Well, a better job.
like it had never been there. So, but because our board has changed quite a bit in terms of membership, so, and given the fact that you're not in a position to build or start building, at least for a few weeks, what we'd like to do is, if, with your permission, is to take another view and continue the public hearing in this matter to our next meeting on September 28th, if that's agreeable to you.
Yeah, I mean, we still have two more meetings with these, with the ZBA and the planning board, and we don't have Graves.
So you need to, the previous owner had obtained a variance, but that variance lapsed. Is that what happened?
Yes, they received a special permit from, the ZBA issued a special permit, that expired on April 25th. The planning board issued a site plan approval on January 24th, 2017.
Do you have that bylaws too? Do you have bylaws too? From 50 feet to 25 feet? Yeah, but wasn't it 50 feet?
In any event. So, all right, with your permission, then we will continue the public hearing to September 28th. I know I can't go this weekend. And Mr. Warming, I don't think you have to be there. I mean, we know the site, we know how to get there. We can take a look around.
Yeah, if you want me to leave there and walk around with the proposed plan and just point out the key features,
We can get in touch with you about that. Okay.
That's my email.
Sure. So is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 404 Oxford Street North to September 28th at 7:05?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Megan? We lost Megan.
She's there. She's just looking
Megan? No, we lost her.
for a she's not there anymore.
She was there. Megan? 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 Can't close the public hearing until she responds. And she's off again. Except, yeah, when it doesn't work, it's terrible. I don't know what happened to her. I'm sure she will agree to close the she will assent to the motion to continue the public hearing to September 28th, but I need to get her on the record. And I don't know where she went. Sir?
Can I ask you a question about that?
Oh, sorry.
Sure. Sure, go ahead, please. Yeah, come on up. buy some time.
Yeah.
Dave Floyd, 410 Oxford Street, on the other side of the wetland.
Sure, please.
In the beginning, when the first time this came around, it was for handicap apartments, is that it?
It's still the same apartments.
Okay. All right. So there's a 100-foot buffer zone from the wetlands, right?
We have jurisdiction within 100 feet of the buffer zone. There's a 25-foot no-build zone. That means that nothing can be built within 25 feet of the wetlands.
So they can go inside the buffer zone.
They can do work within 100 feet of the buffer zone, but they cannot do any work within 25 feet of the wetland area.
And then in that zoning there, it also says that if you're putting handicap or elderly apartments, you need a minimum of 5 acres.
Sir, just so we're clear, our jurisdiction is strictly wetlands. So if you think there's a zoning issue, something
Oh, yeah,
relating to the ZBA, that you can raise the issue at I think at that, with that.
that would be the plan next week, 27th? Okay. All right, so you're going to walk the wetlands again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wasn't sure, because I heard it's a 100-foot buffer, and then they're going to be building inside it.
Our jurisdiction is within 100 feet of the wetlands. There's a 25-foot no-build zone, so they can build between the 25-foot no-build zone and.
And the 100, okay, I didn't know that. And then the rest of the other stuff is,
To the extent
Planning and
that
zoning.
there may be issues with the planning board or the ZBA, then you can take it up with them.
okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's try this again. Megan, are you there?
Yes, sorry, there was a gremlin interrupting my internet issue.
Okay, so there was a motion to continue the public hearing for 404 Oxford Street North to September 28th at 7:05 PM. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's a vote. All right, thank you, Mr. Waterman. It'll probably be in 2 weeks. All right, thank you, sir. The next item on our agenda is a 7:30 public hearing, Spark Realty LLC, request for determination of applicability for 189 Southbridge Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote.
Good evening, just for the record, Scott Morrison from Ecotech here on
Hello,
behalf.
Mr. Morrison, it's been a while.
I know,
How are you doing?
hope all's well. It's nice to see people's faces again.
I agree.
So we've prepared, Keith Sparhawk from Sparhawk Realty's interested in acquiring this piece of property. I went and walked the site. Dark Brook's located across the street, across the railroad tracks. Based upon GIS, it's 240 feet from the site. The site kind of slopes up from, I don't know if you've been there, slopes up from Southbridge Street, kind of a wooded hillside. At the bottom of that hillside, it's a constructed swale. It looks like it was constructed when Southbridge Street was built. So it kind of intercepts any runoff coming off of that and directs it into a drop inlet in the southwestern corner of the property. Even that swale contained Norway maple, white pine, sugar maple, so all non-wetland indicator species. So it was my conclusion that there were no wetlands on the site or within 100 feet of the site. Again, Dark Brook's 240 feet across the street. So it was my conclusion that there were no wetland resource areas. Clients looking for confirmation of that before we acquired. Commission's had a chance to take a walk on the site. Okay.
So I think you're familiar with our process, so we would like to take a look. With your permission, we'll continue the public hearing for 2 weeks to our next meeting on September 28th. In that interim, we will go out to the site and take a look.
Perfect.
That's agreeable to you?
Fine with me. Do you want to schedule something or you want to just deal with that?
I know that, I don't think this weekend is good for, I know it's not good for me, it's not good for Ms. Cora, so I'm thinking perhaps from this Saturday. And we can get in touch with you, we know how to reach you.
Perfect.
Okay.
I will give him my cell phone number and contact information.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 189 Southbridge Street to September 28th at 7:10.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Megan?
That's fine.
Okay, it's a vote. All right. The next item on our agenda is 7:35, public hearing. The Mass Department of Transportation Highway Division, a request for determination of applicability for a portion of I-90 East requesting that the project be found adequately protective under the Wetlands Protection Act. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Megan?
Aye.
It's a vote. All right, is there one here on behalf of the Mass Department of Transportation?
Good evening, I am. Hi.
Hi. And you are?
My name is Sarah Kreisel. I'm happy to present for BSC Group, representing the applicants of Mass DOT.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I served as ecological project manager for the project. The proposed work is associated with roadway resurfacing, maintenance, and vegetation management for road safety maintenance along the Mass Pike from the municipal boundary with Oxford to approximately 700 feet east along I-90 in Auburn, Massachusetts. It's part of a larger contract and effort that extends to the I-84 interchange in Sturbridge, Mass. And similar applications are being filed somewhat concurrently in Sturbridge, Charlton, and Oxford. However, the subject of this RDA is only for work within the Auburn town boundary, and MassDOT is seeking a negative determination.
How many
The
miles?
majority of the proposed...
I'm sorry.
Sorry?
There's a delay also. How many miles is that project within Auburn?
It's about 10 miles. It's in Auburn, it's 700 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so,
So I've got some more, or if you'd like to go on, either way.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
I was saying I can provide some more information if you'd like to go ahead either way.
Yes, please, I think we would like more information. Go ahead.
Sure. So the majority of the proposed work associated with the project includes pavement milling and resurfacing, adjusting and cleaning out of drainage structures, and replacing substandard guardrail. These are all considered to be minor activities within the buffer zone and are not subject to regulation under the Wetlands Protection Act per 310 CMR 1002 2B 1 and 2P. The median and
Did you
side.
memorize that, or did you just read that off of paper?
I have the right written down.
Okay, I was going to say, that's impressive.
Although I might as well have it memorized at this point, but yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, is there anything else?
Yeah, so the median and side slopes of I-90 have been managed over the years by cutting the vegetation to maintain clear guardrails, signs, and lines of sight for motorists. The maintenance work is necessary within the state highway layout in order to provide vehicular safety for the motoring public. All proposed work will take place within the state highway layout, but does extend off the edge of the paved roadway. In addition, some of the proposed vegetation management work required to maintain road safety is not subject to regulation under the Wetland Protection Act if it will occur only in the buffer zone. That reg is per 310 CMR 1002 B2N and also within 6 feet of the guardrail. Therefore, the RDA before you is for the maintenance of vegetation within jurisdictional resource areas such as BLSF and for vegetation management for areas beyond the distance and limits of the Wetland Protection Act minor activities. The vegetation work will occur within previously managed areas along I-90 within the state highway, within the state highway layout, right-of-way side of slopes. All vegetation clearing will occur within previously disturbed areas within 40 feet off of the edge of pavement in areas where no guardrails are present. Where guardrail is present, it'll only be cleared 20 feet back. Cutting will either be by hand or mechanical means, such as a brush hog or similar machinery, and the vegetation will either be chipped or ground and spread appropriately on site, outside of wetlands, and in locations directed by the Mass DOT resident engineer, or properly disposed of off-site. Proposed vegetation management work will likely occur within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW and Bank and BLSF. But any tree or brush removal in jurisdictional wetland resource areas will occur by hand or other methods that avoid ground disturbance. Work is proposed within previously maintained areas along the highway and is not expected to adversely impact wetland resource areas. Lastly, the contractor will employ appropriate best management practices to avoid or minimize impacts to resource areas, including the use of appropriate erosion sediment controls near jurisdictional areas at the discretion of MassDOT. And with that, I would like to open it for any questions.
Can we get a copy of the best management practices that your contractor will use?
I can ask Mass DOT to provide, sure.
Okay. Do you have it?
That might be in this little one.
I mean, I know that Mass DOT has done this type of work in the past, and I'm aware sort of broadly of their exemption from most of the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act. So the work you're describing certainly sounds like it's not going to have any impact on wetland areas adjacent to Route 90, correct?
Correct.
When would the work begin?
It's an excellent question. So the project is proposed to be advertised at the end of October, I believe. And usually the work is about 6 months delayed. I'd have to get back to you on an exact.
So it's sometime next spring then?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Tom, any questions? No. Michelle?
No.
Megan, any questions?
When I provide the, or when we provide the copy of EFPs, I'm happy to provide an updated season, month, whatever MassDOT's able to provide for that. And those obviously as you.
I'm sorry, Megan, can you repeat that, Megan?
Yeah, I just had a question to the fellow commissioners. Would we want to receive the copy of the BMPs before we vote on whether or not this meets the RDA requirements or not?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. How long would it take us to get a copy of the best management practices, do you think?
I mean, I will ask them tonight.
Okay. So if, I mean, I think Megan raises a valid point. Would you have any objection to continuing the public hearing to September 28th?
I'm trying to think if we have another hearing at the same time.
Well, you don't necessarily have to appear at the hearing. I mean, I presume that if you can get us the BMP before then, we'll have a chance to review it, and then we can vote on it without the need for you to participate further.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In that case, is there a motion to continue the public hearing for the DOT request for determination of applicability to September 28th at 7:15?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, so vote. Thank you very much. And I thought your presentation was concise and thorough, and
Amazing. Yes, I thought it was really good.
Michelle thought it was swell.
that was
So thank you very much.
Try to give you everything you need, but we'll work on getting a copy of some best management practices from MassDOT.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Our last public hearing is a 7:40 public hearing. Stephen Wyden, a request for determination of applicability to preserve the Auburn High School Green Dome at 99 Auburn Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Is there someone on behalf of this request for determination? Please come on up.
Yeah, Steve Woodine, member of the Auburn High School Green Dome Preservation Committee. And we brought, Steve Murphy of Murphy Home Repair. He's actually the contractor we finally come in agreement with. And as we, based on the previous meeting, we get a pre-approval based on the actual process to, take care of the lead paint in the disposal. And actually, we're going to have, Steve, talk to you about exactly the process he's going to follow and make sure that you agreed that, this is acceptable.
Okay, so please go ahead.
What I'm gonna do is, first, is make a 2x4 structure and put a top over it, so it's gonna be all covered. I'll be weighting those down, and then in the front of it, I'll have a slit in the top with another structure, another little door with a zippered front. So there'll be 2 openings. That second opening will just be cleared and everything. And then on the outside of it, I'll have a tack cloth that every time I step out of that structure, I'll be all donned up in Tyvek suits, not a half mask, but a full mask, booties. And every time I step out of that unit, I'll have to change the booties. So I will have a separate structure, very small, like a pop-up tent, that will have plastic also down on that, in the inside of the dome. It will be all plastic, and on top of the plastic, I will put drop cloths also. I will use no machine to sand this at all. I'll be scraping it, a little bit of wire brush on the top of the dome, and then scraping it. I got a HEPA vac to clean up any debris, the HEPA vac right there. And there's also another way I can do it is mist it with like a 2-gallon sprayer and wet sand it off. That way is sometimes better than the HEPA vac, because the HEPA vac can still create a tiny bit of dust, not much. And the project's going to take about a week and a half. All the bare wood would be, there's a product called Mad Dog, and that prevents it from any peeling in the future. It'll probably peel from somewhere else other than that. And then I'll be placing an oil primer on top of that, and then 2 coats of acrylic, it's called Eminence from Sherwin-Williams, the best product they make.
So the plan here is basically just to strip it down to the bare wood, is that right?
No, you don't want to strip it down to the bare wood. There'll be caulking on it all already, and not to remove the caulking, to put caulking over that caulking.
Okay.
But if there is any bare wood, then I sand that down, hand sand it. But you don't want to, just the top half of it is going to get free of chips and everything, and then that's going to get painted. The bottom half of it is clapboard siding with corner boards and a 1x2 going across it. That will be demolished. That will be taken off. And putting all new clapboards, because that's in tough shape. And it's a lot cheaper and easier to do it that way, to take it all off. All the debris will be double bagged, like a body bag, in a plastic top taped off. And I'll have a trailer there and everything, a top on the trailer, and then the top will go over all the debris.
Now, are you doing this job by yourself, or you have any helps?
I have one other person, Mike Morrissey, and we will get quarantined. What is that? Quarry check next week.
And when do you think you'll start, or want to start? Okay. All right.
Just so you know, we had a meeting with the superintendent yesterday too, and kind of walking through the process because there was a concern about having students. The only area of concern, it's really not an issue with you, but the area of concern was anybody using the athletic field in terms of the baseball field. There's no activities going on except for that weekend prior to the 17th, and that's why they wanted us to start at the 17th. They have a homecoming weekend. So after, starting on the 17th, we have no issues with the school department by having somebody on site.
Okay. And that's fine with me. As far as the lead abatement, basically, there will be they could actually play ball and everything, but I can see your concern. But they could be within 25 feet.
Now, will you be able to work if it's rain?
Rain?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
And Steve has a lead certification, through the state of Massachusetts too, so he's lead certified.
I just have to get my company licensed. That's a new thing with them. Your company has to be licensed too. And that's just a payment I gotta put in. That's it.
Okay, I have no questions. Tom, any questions?
Nope.
Michelle? Megan, any questions?
Questions?
Okay. Is there a motion to close?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Thank you very
Thank you.
much, gentlemen.
Thank you. As promised, we came back.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate all your help and your assistance.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Up here. Sir, why are you here?
I'm here for 259 Prospect Street.
Okay. Yes, we did. When was the last time you were out there?
Sorry.
Yeah, please, and identify yourself if you would,
Yes.
please.
Yep, should be no stranger to here. I've been here a few times. Jerry Savory, Topper Land Survey.
Okay.
I'm here to represent Wally Koza of 259 Prospect Street.
Yes, yes. We went out to the site on Saturday. You are, and the series of 4 houses looking from the street, you are the third and the fourth house.
Yeah.
It's also the only house that's complete
Yes,
at the
correct.
present time. Mr. Fallon and I walked the site, everything appeared to be in order. So I have no issues or questions, really.
Okay.
Anything?
Nope. Everything look good.
Okay. All right, so, well, is Megan, any questions?
No questions.
Any questions, Michelle?
No.
All right. All right, we'll make a decision on the certificate of compliance this evening.
Okay, great.
All right,
I appreciate it.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
We have, in addition to our public hearings, we have some other matters to attend to. As Michelle and Megan determined, apparently the homeowner for 23 Brook Street undertook a new project. Before we had an opportunity to see if the other work had been properly done, we did have the photographs of the hydro seeding. It appeared to be in place. But the problem is that the homeowner, I think, has undertaken a new project and he hasn't, he didn't file with us. He didn't file a request for determination of applicability with us. So at this point, I don't think we can issue a certificate of compliance. So I think that's going to have to pass. With respect to 404 Oxford Street, yes.
We're gonna need to talk about that too, because I did talk to her. We're gonna have, so this is what, how are we going to actually even do that? Because so the COC, I don't even know if they, Keith, do you know if they actually, I asked them to actually come here tonight. The COC is for the grass that's there, right? What they ripped up and what they're planning on doing is just putting down all brick. Like they're planning on bricking that whole thing.
The whole backyard?
A lot of it.
Okay. Well, I think they still have to file with us.
Did they file anything?
They have not filed anything based on
So
the,
they're just trying to ignore the whole thing at this point?
I don't know if ignore is the right word, but I think perhaps a letter should go to them. You know,
I think so, because
maybe they don't understand. Okay, all right. So clearly, we're not going to give them a certificate of compliance tonight. So, and you
yeah,
took,
because this is it.
well, that's what was submitted to us, but that's not the condition anymore.
Yeah, no.
So I don't understand why they would have had it installed and then ripped out. Because I know,
This is completely gone.
yeah, I know that. So,
So the new homeowner seems to be that the property was sold, and the new inhabitant, the new resident seemed like she just that she needed to file it. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just background.
so you, okay, well, that's new information. So you think the property owner has changed since the house was built?
Yeah, so is Mr. Mohammed a contractor or builder?
No, he's the owner. Mr. Muhammad was the owner. He's a gentleman that lived at the property. And he was.
Okay, well, I'm confused because when we talked to the woman the other day, she sounded like she had just bought the property, like just bought it.
Well,
so that's my impression. Maybe I'm confused.
I think when you say just bought it, I think they bought it last year, or the beginning of this year.
Okay, so Michelle, was your impression that she was like she Mr. Muhammad's wife, or I guess the okay, I guess I'm confused about that.
Yeah, that was Muhammad's wife, as far as that were partner, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
I guess I was.
So in any event, I think a letter needs to be sent to them,
Yeah,
and they need to be given some direction.
yeah.
Okay, all right. With respect to 404 Oxford Street North, we did walk the site, and they were looking to close out the prior order of conditions. I mean, in fact, they did, as I said to Mr. Waterman, they did such a good job in tearing down the house and garage.
Couldn't find it.
Couldn't find
Couldn't
it.
even find the old location. It was all grown in, like everything. They got
So I think in
foundation and everything gone.
the intention for the certificate of compliance was to close out the former order of conditions.
The formal one.
Correct, not the new one, the former one.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not going to give a certificate of compliance for something that hasn't been built yet. So having said that, is there a motion?
Make a motion, we issue a certificate of compliance for 404 Oxford Street North.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Let's vote. And I think, Keith, when you do the COC, make sure it refers to the previous order of conditions, okay?
Absolutely, thank you.
So I was sitting in my kitchen yesterday, a little after 6 o'clock, when the power went out. And the power went out for about an hour. And luckily, I had my cell phone charged, and so I went online in National Grid, and National Grid reported that approximately 2,500 customers were affected by a power outage. Well, as it turns out, we lost power because someone in a vehicle struck a utility pole and basically knocked out power for a little over an hour. With respect to the commission, in striking the utility pole, apparently they also caused a transformer to fall to the ground. That transformer contained about 18 gallons of oil, which then found its way into the wetland. So the proper authorities were notified, National Grid notified Clean Harbors, and I had a conversation with someone from Ty Bond by name of Matt Abraham, who was very knowledgeable, explained what the effort or the remedial efforts that were undertaken to remediate the problem with the oil, because it did get into a couple of drainage culverts or swales. And booms were installed. I mean, again, there's a pretty detailed email that was sent to Keith and with a copy to me from yesterday. And it describes the remedial efforts that they undertook to take care of the 18 gallons of oil. In connection with that, we need to issue an emergency certification. So I would request a motion that we issue an emergency certification for the work that Ty Bond did on Auburn Street to remediate the 18 gallons of transformer oil that was released. So is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote.
Can we discuss the tires and everything?
We can. We'll take that up next. So, Keith, you have the emergency cert?
I have it, it's up there, I'll grab it right now.
So can we give you wet signatures and then can you add Megan's signature? Or no? How do you want to do that? I think you did. Oh, thanks.
I apologize.
That's
If
all right.
not, I'll run and go print another copy.
That's my stuff. Well, let me ask you, can we sign it here and then can you affix Megan's signature? Here it is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I found it. You are in the third line. Up over here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Tom, you sign under my name.
I happened to be pulling out of Savers Bank at about 6:09, and I saw a bright blue flash.
Oh, you
That's
did
when
see
that happened, yeah. I was like, what was that? And all the traffic lights, everything, power was gone.
Yes, it was. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, with respect, oh yeah, regarding the tires, they're unsightly. I believe they are in town property. Do you think we could get our friends at the DPW to remove them?
Yeah, you can ask. Nice.
I will send a communication to them tomorrow morning.
It would be appreciated because it's an eyesore and it's not good for the wetlands.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. With respect to the orders that we need to issue,
Did we do Prospect Street,
uh,
259?
we did not. So we'll start with that.
I make a motion, we issue a certificate of compliance for 259 Prospect Street.
Okay, is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Terrific. Okay. The next item would be the Auburn High School Green Dome. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we issue a negative determination.
Is there a second?
Is it a negative determination? Or is it-
Yeah, negative.
Okay, all right, negative determination. Yes, I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Okay. With respect to Mirror Company notice of intent for 3 Commerce Drive lot number 2, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we issue order with additions, a standard order plus the following specials: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 13.
Okay. There's a motion to issue a standard order for 3 Commerce Drive lot number 2, including the following special conditions: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 13. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, it's a vote. And then with respect to 15 Bridle Path, is there a motion?
Make a motion that we issue a standard order plus the following special numbers: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, and 13.
Okay. The motion is for a standard order plus the following special conditions: 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, and 13. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote.
And then a negative determination for 13 Prentice.
Yes, is there a motion?
I move that we issue a negative determination for 13 Prentice.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Okay. Is there anything else?
That's it on the agenda.
Okay. So my thought is that for sidewalks, since I know I can't go do this weekend, I know you can't do this weekend. So let's see.
Saturday the 24th.
Yes, is that going to be the 24th? I think you're right. So we'll do sidewalks on Saturday the 24th. We'll take a look at 189 Southwood Street. We'll also go back and revisit 404 Oxford Street North. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much. We had some technical glitches, but we worked through it. So thank you for your patience, and we'll see you the next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.